This has been a very significant flood event for New South Wales. I've been a flood forecaster in the Bureau for 20 years, and this is probably the worst flooding that I've experienced and I've had to forecast.
Over the course of this event, we've seen some really intense rainfall rates, and it's fallen on some very wet catchments, and we've seen some increased flooding and some pretty catastrophic impacts across eastern New South Wales.
Stay in there, mate. Stay in there. Good boys. Good boys.
Alright, so we'll do 2 and 2.
We can probably take 5 crates at a time. 5 crates at a time. Got it. Start bringing them over. Try to go back and give them a hand. No, I'd be too worried about it falling out. All right. Sorry. Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Because if one falls over.
They're being evacuated by boat at the moment, and as you can see, the water is very high. It's a very large property of 22 acres, so it's risen quite a lot to get to where it is now. It's actually unbelievable to see this amount of water, but you know, we have people that live on the property. Long as that all the animals and our staff are all okay, that's really all we care about, and everything else is replaceable. You know, this is really sad, and we're just, you know, one of the many that have, you know, had to deal with all the rain that's coming down in Sydney at the moment.
So far, the SES has been called out at least 8,000 times. There are around 15,000 people who've been evacuated from the mid-north coast from their homes. In the Nepean Richmond Valley region or Hawkesbury region, there have been about 3,000 evacuations to date. 19 evacuation orders have been issued and potentially more to come. Areas or 30 up to 38 areas have already been regarded as natural disaster areas, which means people in those communities and local government in those communities can get assistance. That means up to $1,000 each for adults and $400 for children. And we thank the Commonwealth Government for working with the state government and making that available. The situation is evolving. The heavy rainfalls are going to continue, and we are now seeing alerts issued for weather warnings for the Illawarra and South Coast. And I just want to say to everybody across the state who is currently living in fear and anxiety that all of us are thinking of you. Some communities who were battered by the bushfires are now being battered by the floods, and deep drought prior to that. And I don't know any time in our state's history when we've had these extreme weather conditions in such quick succession in the middle of a pandemic. So they are challenging times for New South Wales, but I think we've also demonstrated our capacity to be resilient. But I know for many people, they will feel like it's breaking point. When you've been through 3 or 4 incidents which are life-changing on top of each other, it can make you feel like you're at breaking point. But please know we're thinking of you and we're getting support as much as we can.
Now that rainfall will be continuing, and we will be seeing rainfall across the New South Wales coast. But really, it's the mid-north coast today that is getting hit once again. And tomorrow we are expecting rainfall to re-intensify for this particular region. So again, being really mindful for the communities out there. You have already experienced some very dangerous conditions, and they are going to be treacherous yet again. So keep a close eye on warnings, and again, expecting those river rises and that flood risk to continue.
I'm concerned, the Bureau is very concerned about the flooding in the Hawkesbury-Nepean Valley. Last night we experienced very heavy rainfall, especially in the area around Penrith. We had the dam commencing to spill yesterday afternoon, and we also have floodwaters coming down the upper Nepean River system. So at Penrith, we're expecting river levels at Penrith to be levels near the 1961 flood.
Just since this event commenced on Thursday, there's been SES volunteers have responded to 7,000 requests for assistance from our community, and that's increasing exponentially by the hour. There have been over 650 flood rescues during that time as well, and it's, I guess, an opportunity to really appeal to the community not to drive through flood waters. It's not worth the risk. You're creating significant risk to yourselves, to your families, and also to the rescuers who would need to come and save you.
So just I'm first time here like this one, so worry about it. We moved to my car's another place, and also I saw it, my neighbor, they moved to their horses to move to another areas. So that's why we worry about we escape or stay here, we don't know. Just so worry about now. We prepare my handbag and some things, just we ready to move now.
Look how big it's getting.
Oh, we're just inundated at the moment, and the water's still rising. It's come up about a foot in the last hour. Yeah, this is the worst I've seen it. Last year, just after Christmas, it was pretty bad as well, but not this bad.
there's going to be a lot of people that maybe don't get their houses flooded, but they won't get to work. The roads will be wrecked as well. So it's going to test and give, I think, a lot of people a bit of a wake-up call that they think, no, nature, this and that, but there's people that don't live near here who are going to be affected by it. All these new estates and areas that, as I said, they never built on them because they could be flood affected. Oh, we built the dam bigger, we built lakes, but once they're full, they're full.